Warning. I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised.
Polanski dies. Thank you, world audience. I think you made the right call. And apologies to my very powerful friends out in Hollywood. Unfortunately, the audience gave me no choice. They made a decision that I don't agree with in a lot of ways, but it's my duty to respect it.
Thanks, Ryan. Next up, the mob gets to pick an appropriate method of execution. Will Polanski face the Jacuzzi of Doom, the angry mob themselves, or Tilikum, the killer whale?
That's the wild card.
So many choices. I wonder what it's going to be.
Tarantino billboards hijacked in LA to slam Epstein, Polanski, and Pedowood. 7/26/2019. The giant billboard at Pico and La Cienega had been rented by Sony to advertise a film. Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio no longer appear on several ads in Hollywood for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, as the conservative street artist has swapped their images with those of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and film director Roman Polanski. The giant billboard at Pico and La Cienega, I don't know how to say that, had been rented by Sony to advertise the Quentin Tarantino movie that opened Thursday night, but Friday morning, not only have the photos of the actors been altered, but also the film's title, which now reads Once Upon a Time in Pedowood. The artist behind the alterations goes by the name Sabo, and he says that the faux ads are meant to insult the entertainment industry for embracing Polanski, who pled guilty to sex with a minor 4 decades ago, and to a lesser extent Epstein, who was arrested July 6 for sex trafficking of minors. He also noted that the backdrop of the movie is the 1969 Charles Manson murders, where the most high-profile victim was Sharon Tate, the actress who was married to Polanski at the time. Epstein wasn't as well known among the public as Polanski until his recent arrest, but he was a frequent guest at entertainment industry events on both coasts, even throwing dinner parties at his New York mansion attended by the likes of Katie Couric, Charlie Rose, Chelsea Handler, and George Stephanopoulos. Beyond the billboard, there are ads at numerous bus stops, some on benches and others behind glass. Insiders say a street crew worked through the night to get the phony ads in place before the sun rose Friday. One bench ad uses an image of Woody Allen instead of Polanski, as Allen was accused of abusing his adoptive daughter, Dylan Farrell, when she was 7. Quote, "I felt they should all share a billboard to highlight a decades-old problem that has plagued Hollywood for decades, the abuse of children," Sabo said. Weird, it kind of reminds me of one of my cover photos from one of my old videos from October of 2017. Pedowood, Lolita Xpress. I'll leave a link. Hey, even the bench with Woody Allen's fitting, because number one, he was friends with Epstein, there's pictures of them together, and number two, according to a revealed blind item, he's been to Little St. James. This billboard was pretty fitting. Now, what do Roman Polanski and Jeffrey Epstein have in common, besides sex with children? Alan Dershowitz. Now's where it gets interesting. Dershowitz seeks to bring close to Polanski case. Roman Polanski, a film director, wants to have the threat of extradition and jail time lifted after fleeing the U.S. before sentencing on a charge of raping a 13-year-old girl in 1977. December 15th, 2014. Alan Dershowitz, a lawyer whose celebrity clients have included the heiress Patty Hearst and the hacker Julian Assange, is seeking to lead what could be the final effort to end the legal case against the film director Roman Polanski, who fled the U.S. before final sentencing on statutory rape charge in 1978. In connection with an L.A. County Superior Court filing on Monday, Mr. Dershowitz is asking permission to represent Mr. Polanski in California. The filing charged prosecutors with providing false information to support a recent attempt to have Mr. Polanski extradited from Poland. It also demanded a hearing aimed at closing his case, based partly on fresh testimony that the Superior Court judge in 2009 had unethically prejudged issues related to Mr. Polanski's prosecution and had a secret plan to jail him, at least briefly, even while limiting his actual sentence to time served. The filing is likely to draw new attention to a legal process that has risen and fallen in the public consciousness for almost 4 decades. In October, the authorities in Poland questioned Mr. Polanski, who had been living in France but declined to detain him following a request from the U.S. for his extradition when he was photographed at the opening of the Museum of History of Polish Jews in Warsaw. In 2010, Swiss officials ultimately ruled against extradition after detaining Mr. Polanski for more than 9 months on a similar request. The request by Mr. Dershowitz to represent Mr. Polanski opened what promises to be a broad legal and public relations effort to lift the threat of extradition and jail time for Mr. Polanski, now 81. He was first charged with raping a 13-year-old girl who has since identified herself as Samantha Geimer in 1977. Mr. Polanski was imprisoned for psychiatric evaluation under a plea agreement, but he fled before sentencing when he learned that Judge Lawrence Rittenband, now dead, intended to impose additional jail time. He and his lawyers have since argued that LA prosecutors and judges repeatedly violated his rights and that his sentence has been fully served, but officials have insisted that he must return before those claims can be heard. In his new legal effort, Mr. Dershowitz and Bart Dalton, who has been part of Mr. Polanski's legal team in recent years, challenged the behavior of Judge Espinoza, who oversaw Mr. Polanski's case during a legal fight that erupted in late 2008. The dispute followed the release of a documentary film, quote, Roman Polanski, Wanted and Desired, by Nobody, which described unorthodox and perhaps illegal procedures in the earlier conduct of the case. In an affidavit filed with a new motion, a former public information officer of the court, Alan Paracchini, describes encounters and emails that, he said, showed Judge Espinoza to have prejudged issues that had not been argued in court. Mr. Paracchini's affidavit also repeated his claim, published last year in the LA Daily Journal, that Judge Espinoza had expressed willingness to limit Mr. Polanski's sentence to the time he had spent in prison. But, Mr. Paracchini wrote, the judge had decided first to let Mr. Polanski, quote, cool his heels in jail by delaying that ruling for weeks should he return. In a statement, Mr. Dershowitz said he intended, quote, to see that the integrity of the criminal justice system is preserved and to stop any further misstatements from our government to European nations regarding the status of Mr. Polanski, who, he said, quote, has taken responsibility for his actions, served his sentence, and a remedy should now be fashioned by the court once and for all. The new filing says that recent extradition requests falsely characterized Mr. Polanski as a, quote, continuing flight risk. It points out that he appeared voluntarily for questioning by the Polish authorities, and the filing says, quote, deliberately omitted the fact that Polanski has already served the term of imprisonment imposed by the trial judge. Mr. Polanski, a Holocaust survivor who was born in Poland, has said he would return there to shoot a film about an Alsatian Jew, Alfred Dreyfus, who in the late 19th century was accused of passing military secrets to Germany. The Dreyfus case, which ended in his exoneration, raised debate about anti-Semitism and prosecutorial misconduct. But to shoot in Poland, Mr. Polanski and his backers have said would require assurance by the Polish authorities that he would not be subject to extradition.
What's going on down here?
We're playing house.
That boy is all tied up.
Roman Polanski's house.
Another thing that fits in is Quentin Tarantino was defending Polanski on Howard Stern years ago. He's apologized for it since, but the way he talked about it was strange.
Hey, Quentin, how you doing, man?
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Nice to meet you. What have you done to make the world a better place?
I don't know. What do you think I've done?
Cool movies.
Oh, well, there. I'll stand with that.
Pulp Fiction's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, were you happy when Roman Polanski won the Oscar?
Yeah, that was pretty cool, actually, yeah.
What's so great about a rapist being the recipient of Hollywood's highest honor?
I don't consider him a rapist.
Right, that's the one. How can you defend? See, I don't understand this. How come Hollywood embraces this madman, this director who raped a 13-year-old?
He didn't rape a 13-year-old. It was statutory rape.
Yeah,
all right.
Well,
that's not quite the same thing. All right?
Come on.
Enough said. It's not statutory rape. You know, he had sex with a minor. All right, that's not rape. To me, when you use the word rape, all right, you're talking about violent, throwing them down. It's like one of the most violent crimes in the world. You can't throwing the word rape around is like throwing the word racist around. All right, it just doesn't apply to everything that people use it for. All right, he was guilty of having sex with a minor. All right,
that she didn't want to have.
No, that was not the case at all. She wanted to have it.
Well,
and dated the guy, and she
was 13,
and found out. Well, by the way. okay, we're talking about America's morals. We're not talking about the morals in Europe and everything. All right.
Wait a second.
Morals in
You have
Europe,
sex
morals in China.
with a 13-year-old girl, and you're a grown man. You know that that's wrong because she has
Giving her booze and pills.
I'm not. Look, she was down with it. All right.
I believe it's rape.
I don't believe it's rape. I mean, not at 13. Not for these 13-year-old party girls out there.
Oh, my
Really?
13-year-old party girls. What is that?
So he's into Polanski, too. Oh, and feet, according to rumors.
The Jacuzzi of Doom. I love that thing. Oh, no, please. No, please do not. Oh,
Here's a fun fact. A jacuzzi is where Polanski took advantage of his 13-year-old victim.
And now it looks like that jacuzzi's about to take advantage of him. Yep, that bad boy is outfitted with all kinds of nasty presets. Just wait till you see them. Yep.
Here we go.
You know, if you just run that thing in the hydrotherapy setting, it's actually quite pleasant.
Well, I'm not sure that's what the mob's got in mind today.
Oh my God! Oh, that sounds painful! Ooh,
It's a shame we're all out of Quaaludes.
Fucking stoned.
I got motherfucking spaceship. Oh, fuck. Cool, I got it.